Hey, how are you? This is Daniel Rezendi, and today we're going to have an international look on predicting the future of Europe. And this is a photo of the day. It's me in the metro in Rome. I was going to the beach and thought it would be fun to show you guys. So, obviously, this is for entertainment purposes only. Nobody knows the future of anything, much less the future of a complicated set of 50 countries. All right, so it's just for fun. Let's start with regions. In South Europe, the future of pigs. Obviously, the main problems in South Europe are age, fertility, and wages. Age, because, well, the mean age in most of Southern Europe is really, really old. If you see that Italy, it's over 48. In Spain, it's 46. In Portugal, it's 46. In Greece, it's 46. That's pretty old, let me tell you that. And those are some of the oldest countries in the world on average. Obviously, fertility-wise, that's why they're so old, because people don't have kids anymore. If you get Spain, Italy, and Portugal from the 1970s until now, the decline has been so stiff. It's been amazing, and obviously nobody knows where those rates are going, but if they keep going down, or even if they just maintain themselves, it's a very, very problematic situation, let's call it that. And last but not least, wages, they're a real challenge. I think especially in Italy, even more than Spain and Portugal, but just overall Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, wages have not particularly gone up, and obviously that's a very problematic situation. So my overall take is worrying. Now, there is a lot of millionaire migration to Southern Europe. If you take the image here, obviously Switzerland, that's not in Southern Europe, but Portugal, Italy, Greece, they have a lot of millionaires coming in. I don't know how Spain's situation is, but that might help. That brings money, but I don't think it would be enough to alleviate your crisis. And then obviously, especially in Spain and Portugal, but even in Italy as well, there's a lot of Latino immigration, which can alleviate the aging crisis, because mostly immigrants are younger and they can work. So my take is that Spain is actually more stable. It just seems to have more stable politics than, for example, Italy for sure, and Greece for sure, and even Portugal, if you ask me. And it has a huge immigrant pool, which it really kind of saves Spain, because Spain could not have kids ever and just import Latinos. And importing Latinos is just much easier for Spain than for everybody else. And while Spain has a lot of immigration from, let's say, Argentina and Mexico, which are easily integrated into Spanish culture. If Italy and Portugal has Brazil, but still, if Italy instead gets Moroccans, for example, obviously integration is much harder. And probably Italy, on the other hand, is the most challenging, just because it's the oldest, it's the one with the most stagnant wages, and it's the biggest. Because if you're a small country and you're kind of screwed, you can just become Ireland and, just be a tax haven for a while and make money enough to pay for your debt. But Italy's too big for that. If Italy even did everything that Ireland is doing, I'm not sure that it would be enough. So it's definitely problematic. I've lived in Italy. I am Italian. Well, I have an Italian passport, but it is a very delicate situation. Let's call it that. Now, the Nordics. If you go up in the Nordics, obviously they have a lot of social cohesion. Will the social cohesion hold? Well, I believe yes. They do have a higher fertility rate in general than Southern Europe, and they're just much younger than Southern Europe, in parts because they have somewhat of a higher immigration, but it's more because they have more kids, and that's really good. I mean, the average wage in Norway is 40 and in Italy is 48. That's 8 years. That's a lot of difference. Again, their immigration is moderate if you compare it to, let's say, Germany or France or Luxembourg or Switzerland, for example. So it's not as if they're falling apart due to immigration. Sweden has a little bit of a worse situation, but especially Norway and Denmark, they're very controlled. So my take is overall stable and positive. Obviously, even though I'm not a huge fan of high taxes and stuff, those countries are just so efficient. They're efficient. They're cohesive. They're empathetic to one another, and they're actually quite pro-market, especially Denmark. I think Denmark is probably my bet, my best bet for the Nordics, because Sweden has had has less integration. It has a bit more problem with immigration overall, and it's also poorer overall. So even though it has an entrepreneur, a good startup scene, I think Spotify started there, IKEA, that sort of thing, I don't think it's quite in as good of a position as, let's say, Denmark, which is it focuses on integration. It has a very clear approach to immigration that I think is a really good reference for the EU, and it's more pro-market. It's just it's a very interesting country. And Norway, obviously, it has so much oil and such a good like wealth fund that it's definitely going to be fine. But just in a general, I don't know, maintenance and management sort of way, I think Denmark is the best. But they're all, believe me, they're all going to be fine. And Iceland and Finland, they'll also be fine. So I wouldn't worry. Following up with Central Europe. Central Europe is trying to overspend its way out of problems. If you see Austria, Belgium, Germany, France, and Italy, if you consider Italy, Central Europe, just spending a lot of money. Luxembourg has a lot of spending to GDP ratio, but it's better, and the Netherlands is also better. So if I had to guess, I would guess that the Luxembourg and Netherlands probably have the most solid prospects, just because, well, they are more stable. They are on average wealthier than all the other countries in Central Europe, except Switzerland, which I'm not including here. And Belgium, Germany, and France are probably the most problematic. Germany has clear energy problems. Belgium and France have spending problems and debt problems, like just crazy. And it's just like the French-speaking people, because that's mostly the French part of Belgium and France. They just love spending money. They love the government. They love welfare. When I lived in France, everyone I knew was on welfare in one way or another. Like, oh, I'm a student and I get 200 euros. I'm unemployed and I get 500 euros, whatever. Like, it just adds up, you know. Like, if everyone is getting money from the government, at one point your social system will collapse. Just my opinion here. But I think those countries are more problematic. I still have solid hope for Germany. France, I think it really is like down a trajectory where it's a little more complicated. And Belgium, it's a small country, so you can just always pour an Irish and just change completely. Like Ireland, literally 15 years ago, it was screwed, and then now it's one of the wealthiest countries in Europe. If you're a small country, it's easier for you to do that. Not that Belgium is as small as Ireland, but still it's much smaller than France and Germany. Probably my most problematic would be France, but it's a hard contest, let's call it that. Now, Eastern Europe. Obviously, Eastern Europe has suffered a lot in the last 100 years, and probably throughout its life. Really, Poland has a rough history, and they're lovely people. But obviously, they have lower taxes. They have less bureaucracy, at least especially in northeastern Europe. Let's say the Baltics, Poland, Czech Republic. They have less bureaucracy. They have less taxes than the West. They're much more strict on immigration, like much more, especially Poland, but just everywhere in Eastern Europe. Also, it's easier for them to be stricter on immigration because they're not the primary goal of most immigrants. Like most immigrants are not really trying to go to Romania or to Poland or to even the Czech Republic. Most of them really do try to go to Germany and the Nordics and England, etc. So they have a bit more of a better outlook in that sense. They have lower debt as well. If you compare the debt, they're all under 70%, which is quite all right. But the problem is, on a short-term perspective, Western Europe still pays much higher salaries. So on a short-term perspective, people still leave Eastern Europe for Western Europe, and this brain drain combined with a very low fertility is really challenging, because if you've been losing young people for the last 30 years and young people don't have as many kids, your population pyramids really are not solid. But Hungary, especially Poland and Eastern Europe in general, they're really trying to fix that. And if you can get fertility up to even close to replacement, I think that would already be great. Poland obviously has really strong economic stats in general. So I'm not saying they're like screwed, but it's a complicated future, mostly due to population pressure, mostly due to people leaving for higher salaries and not having enough kids. But if you can fix that, I think overall, economically and structurally and culturally, Eastern Europe has a fairly bright future, if you ask me. Now for the UK and Ireland, UK is largely the same situation as France and Germany, so it's in Italy as well. So it's large, it has debt. It's trying to change, but it couldn't. It left the EU so that immigration would lower, and instead immigration got higher. The difference is now instead of it being European, it's like Indians and Pakistanis. Well, it was already Indians and Pakistanis, but it's even more now. So I think the UK is definitely in trouble, and obviously you want to have hope for every country in the world, you know. But if you look like nearly 10,000 million has left the UK in 1 year, and that's a lot less in consumption, that's a lot less in taxes, that's a lot less in everything, honestly. And if you keep losing that every year, it's going to be rough. And the truth is with the UK, it's not just the millionaires leaving, like just everyone is leaving. You go to Australia, you go to New Zealand, there's so many British people there, and obviously if you're from a country that has really bad weather, like the UK, and you might laugh it off, but it's true. If you're from a country that has bad weather, you have to put an effort into being a good country economically. Imagine Norway had shitty economics. You think anyone would live in Norway? Like the weather is fucking rough, you know. So like if the weather isn't good, you have to put your shit together. You can't afford to be a poor country because everyone's gonna leave. Everyone's gonna leave. Italy, they can do whatever they want because the weather is great, the geography is beautiful, etc., etc. Like they could pay like you 500 euros a month to do whatever, and you'd be like, yeah, but at least I'm sipping margarita. Like you have like more of the cultural vibe to it. You have a better weather, you know, so you can at least pull the lifestyle card. But in the UK you can't. Like there's no lifestyle card in the UK. Not that the UK is bad. Like I said, I lived there even when I was a kid. Like I love the UK. Like it's very close to my heart. It's not doing the best economic policy right now. And Ireland is doing great, except they don't have any idea on how to fix their housing problem. Like housing in Ireland is probably the craziest housing in the world. Housing in Dublin is insane. Like if you compare salaries in Dublin to housing costs in Dublin, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. If they can fix that, I think they're doing pretty well. If they can't, yeah, it's going to be problematic. But yeah, so this is a bit more data on the UK and Ireland. I think they have high taxes really early on in the middle class. Like if you're low class, if you're the lower class in the UK and Ireland, you really don't pay income taxes if you're making like 20 grand a year or 30 grand a year. But after, well, 50 and 44, you start paying a lot. So it's really not that good for high paying careers because half of your money is just going to keep with the government. And especially in the UK, they spend a lot of money. They have a very big government, let's call it that. So I would wrap up like this. Europe's decentralized nature allows for vastly different prospects. People say Europe versus America, but again, Europe is really decentralized. It could go a lot of different ways. While the main European powers look problematic due to overspending and economic stagnation, so Italy, France, UK, and Germany, smaller countries in North and Western Europe might have more positive outlooks, so the Netherlands, the Nordics in general, Ireland. Eastern and Southern Europe, on the other hand, they face severe demographic and structural problems, which could only be addressed through social and cultural shifts. Although Southern Europe being much older and having more debt, they do have a more problematic situation, but Eastern Europe does have that problem as well. And above all, a return to what made all of these countries, all European countries, successful in the first place is necessary. Necessary, absolutely. You need to remember why you're rich. You need to remember why you got rich in the first place. You need to rebuild the structures and the institutions and the freedoms that were put in place that allowed you to get rich in the first place. That's the only solution for Europe. So what do you think the future of Europe will be like? Let me know in the comments below.